Camp TV thanks you for watching this presentation. We'd love for you to become a member and use your creativity at our station. Please visit hinghammedia.org or call us at 781-836-5094 if you would like to learn more.
Hingham, a town of great history, heritage, and heart. Coming up on today's episode of Hingham Happenings. A food blogger discusses clean eating at Whole Foods Market. A Delta blues duo rocks out at Coffeehouse Off The Square. Volunteers join the effort to maintain World's End. Children flock to Barnes & Noble to become Lego crime fighters. The Lincoln Day celebration returns for its 41st year. All this and more coming up on Hingham Happenings. Hello, and welcome to our March episode of Hingham Happenings. I'm your host, Liz Vire. Some quick local announcements. This year's third annual Pizza Palooza will be on March 29th, starting at 5:30 p.m. and will go until 8 p.m. in the Hingham High School cafeteria. Come for a fun family night out, sample the finest pizza from Hingham and surrounding communities, and vote for your favorite. Your voice matters. Admission is $10 per person or $30 per family. The Hingham Substance Abuse Prevention Coalition is considering seeking nonprofit status to allow fundraising for various programs it would like to present, rather than continuing under the town umbrella, with continued participation by various town officials. For social media purposes, the coalition will be referred to as Hingham Cares: community, action, resources, education, and support, to make it more easily recognizable and to better express its mission in a simple way. This seems like a good opportunity to recognize Rosie Chirillo, the enthusiastic crossing guard who has served for 37 years for the Hingham Public School System. She recently turned 75. Thank you, Rosie Chirillo, for your years of dedication, service to the town of Hingham. Photo by Wicked Local. We start our show today at Whole Foods Market. Jennifer DuPont, a fitness and nutrition blogger, stopped by to give a presentation on clean eating. Jen shared tips on clean meal prep as well as her own unique recipes. Attendees received 3 Whole Foods Market products Jen uses herself. Are you hungry?
We have a clean eating event with Jen DuPont, a local food blogger in the South Shore. She responded to a request we put out on social media, I think Instagram, looking for food bloggers that were interested in having an ongoing working relationship with us here at Whole Foods.
Sometime last year, this Whole Foods Market actually was looking for local food bloggers, and so I had sent them in, my blog and my Instagram with all, my recipes and foods that I make on it. So I'm really excited for this event. It is my first one like this. I think it will go well, and hopefully people will learn a lot. Today we are doing a class called Clean Eating 101. My goals for today are to teach people that to eat healthy and to eat clean is easy, and it tastes good, and it will make you feel good. I prepared all the handout materials for today. My focus was to keep it simple. I didn't want it to be complicated or overwhelming, and to kind of make it like a 3-step process. Like, here's your grocery shopping list, here's how you can prep some food, and here are some great recipes you can eat. And then I also included a 3-day meal plan example of clean recipes and delicious recipes that maybe will give people ideas and inspiration, so when they leave here today, they'll be inspired to go home and make some of them.
Well, ever since Whole Foods was founded in 1980, clean eating has really been the premise of why we're here. Simple, basic, all-natural, unprocessed foods free of artificial colors and preservatives, and nowadays meats that are raised sustainably, seafoods that's harvested sustainably. Those are all part of clean eating and have always been a part of Whole Foods Market mission.
Today we're going to start with really answering the question, what is clean eating? I have an acronym. So the word clean we can actually use to make 5 simple rules for clean eating. So C stands for check your labels. So you want to be aware of what you're eating. Just because something is packaged as looking healthy or all natural, it really might not be. L stands for low sugar. So you really want to be aware of your sugar intake to maintain kind of a steady blood glucose level. E stands for eat healthy fats and lean proteins. There's always kind of been a dogma of you should eat low fat. There's plenty of healthy fats out there, avocados, coconut oil, olive oil, that will help you feel full for a while so you don't overeat. The A stands for avoid processed foods. Processed foods are things like Doritos, candy bars. They're fake food. They don't have wholesome, nutrient-dense ingredients in them. The more you can avoid those, the better off your diet will be. And then N stands for nutrient-dense. So you want to load your diet with nutrient-dense foods that kind of offer you more bang for your buck. Salmon, kale, chia seeds are really nutrient-dense foods that will sustain you and make you feel full and also are really good for you. The 3 favorite products I have today are coconut oil. It's a very healthy fat. It's something you can put in almost anything you're eating. You can cook with it, you can put it in smoothies. I bake with it sometimes. It's very versatile and very good for you. Coconut flour is another one that I chose today, which is gluten-free, it's nut-free. I use a lot of coconut flour in my recipes. I bake with it. I also make cauliflower crust pizza with it. There's lots of different things you can do with it. Chia seeds are one of the most nutrient-dense foods you could eat. And you can really do anything with them as well. Sometimes I put them in my yogurt. You can put them in yogurt. You can make chia pudding. I sometimes bake cookies and I put chia seeds in the cookies. So it's just a way to add nutrition to whatever you're eating.
Having our customers understand that we're so much more than just a grocery store, that we're a resource for all kinds of information, that we're a place where they can meet other people, and we're not just a grocery store. We're a part of the community. So it's a service for the community.
I think educating Hingham and the public on clean eating and what you can do to improve your lifestyle is invaluable. Diet is the one thing you are always in control of in your life. You control what you eat. And it's the biggest way that you can impact your own health. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. You have to eat well to be healthy. And so, there's plenty of research out there showing that diets filled with nutrient-dense foods, they protect against diseases.
Well, anytime we do anything that benefits people's own health and well-being, that's good for them, that's good for their families, that's good for the planet. Our own personal health is something we can control, and that's important. So when that happens, people are happy and healthy, and cost of insurance goes down.
What a combo, nutritious and delicious. Speaking of combos, Coffeehouse Off The Square welcomed Delta Blues duo Paul Rochelle and Annie Raines to headline the Old Ship Parish House's long-running show. The event began with an open mic per usual and then opened up for the headliner. Food was offered. The night was a mix of seasoned players and good times, even if you had the blues.
Tonight is the return of Paul Rochelle and Annie Raines, who are a marvelous Delta Blues couple. He's a great both scholar of Delta Blues and performer, and there he is. And Annie is a phenomenal singer, but harmonica player, and we've had them probably every other year, and just with great following, great performance, great spirit, and just great folks to deal with.
Tonight is a huge shebang. This time, in addition to the open mic, we've brought a couple of guests with us. We have Brad Bensko, who's going to open up the set with a couple of songs on acoustic guitar, and songs he wrote, and then Paul and I will come out and play our acoustic blues as a duo. Then we also have Guy Van Duzer in the house, so we'll be getting everybody together with Brad and Guy all together at the end of the night.
We get lots of suggestions. We call performers. We get tentative dates. We get tentative prices. The 3 or 4 of us, Eric Cornetta and myself, Andrew Marcellia, previously Gene Freeman, 4 or 5 person booking committee, and we all go out and sort of prowl around and find people, and then come back to a meeting and then find the conflicts and then figure out who we want when.
Well, Paul and I have been playing for almost 25 years. Started playing in bands together. Paul had a band and I had a car, and that's how that worked out. And actually it was his first wife that said that we should play as a duo. And that was, it was 25 years ago. We actually started, our first band gig together was at the Atlantic Bar and Grill in Hull. So we kind of started on the South Shore. And then we started going on the road together and making records. So we made, I think, 6 or 7 records together. We've been all up and down the East Coast and across the country. We've been to Europe a few times and played over there. But the country blues particularly is acoustic blues music from the 1920s and 30s. That really highlighted a rural style that had come up at that time. So acoustic music played on National Steel guitars and harmonicas, usually one person or just 2 people singing and playing with one instrument. It's from a tradition of African American folk music and popular music that probably started with minstrel shows in the 1800s. It's always an adventure.
Well, coffee houses are a New England phenomenon, and so when I moved up to Boston, it was because I wanted to play music. I had discovered coffee houses. They're great places to play because the people who come to them basically come to see the music. They're not there for many other reasons, or maybe to see each other. But, it's a nice environment.
It's big enough without being overwhelming. It has pretty decent acoustics. It's got a high ceiling, but it has hard surfaces, so the sound works out pretty well. It's well known because it's where the coffee after church in the morning is, and it's used for a lot of other classes. It's just $15 at the door. No reservations, no cut prices. Sometimes we think about having the open mic people get a lower price if they just come in and go, but so far it's a normal price. We were 5 for years, and then 8 for years, and then 10 for years. Every year it's a struggle because we're trying to keep it affordable. But you want to pay people a decent amount. The present 15 is a little higher than I prefer, a lot less than many places, and enables us to pay a decent amount. We've thought about having reservations and having tickets, and it's complicated, so you just pay at the door.
Well, I've seen Paul, Rochelle, and Annie Raines several times in the past. In fact, I saw them here at Old Ship for the first time many years ago. Thought they were fantastic. Bought a couple of their CDs that night, and we've listened to them ever since. And it's great when we see they're coming back. And I've found there are no weak events here. It seems to be when I come for someone new that I've never heard, it's always great. Where else do you see music from 10 feet away?
And it's nice to be here. I always like coming here and playing. New England coffee houses are one of my favorite places to play. This is a particularly nice one.
I think we need as much music as possible, especially these days, the way things are going, and the arts are certainly, the arts have always needed support. That's what the arts are. They don't necessarily generate money the way they do in the entertainment industry. So it's good for the soul, and what's good for the soul is good for the body. We have a website. It's paulandannie.com, www.paulandannie.com, and we're on Facebook too, and places like that. But our website has our tour dates, it has our CDs, and sometimes we write little postings about where we've been and what we're up to. So it's a way, it's a part of our connection to the online community.
So great to see everybody coming together for a good time. The trustees who manage World's End and their partners from the National Park Service welcomed volunteers to assist in the maintenance of the property. Stewardships Saturdays, as they're called, invite volunteers to take part in the conservation of various properties while getting to meet others and learn about the history of the land. Ready to eradicate some invasives?
Today we're hosting a Stewardships Saturday program at World's End. World's End is part of the national park here in Boston, the Boston Harbor Islands. It's owned by our trustees' partners, and we're hosting a volunteer event that we bring in anywhere in the wintertime from just a few up to today. We'll have nearly 30 people coming to do habitat restoration projects, mainly controlling non-native invasive plants. Stewardships Saturday is an opportunity for the public to come out into the park, a place that belongs to them, and contribute time and effort and energy to improving it. Typically in parks they're pretty small full-time staff, so we rely heavily on volunteers. The products that we have are usually focused on controlling non-native invasive plants, and that's usually through mechanical methods, which means pulling them out by the root, cutting them, and lopping them down. So we have probably about 20 or 30 non-native species that are problematic, that edge out and can dominate sensitive habitats in the region, especially here in the park. We do our best to teach our volunteers how to identify native and non-native plants, as well as use tools safely, and they become our workforce.
We essentially try to work with the statewide ecology team, with the trustees, to establish where our problem spots are throughout the property. And we landed on Rocky Neck as our site today because of the high levels of invasives. It's a difficult place to maintain. So having many hands like we have today really improves our ability to monitor and eradicate invasives.
Typically at a Stewardships Saturday, we have our volunteers arrive around 9 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier, depending on if we're going to one of the islands, but today here at World's End, we'll be meeting them at 9 o'clock. We do a bit of a welcome circle. We try to get everyone to introduce themselves, and I kind of explain a little bit about the park to those that are new. We typically do a bit of a safety talk at the beginning of the day. We walk to our work site, we identify the boundaries of that, identify the plants that we're going to be working with, reiterate some of the safety issues, and then we get to work. We usually work for a couple of hours, take a nice lunch break, chat, and then we resume work after lunch for about another hour or so, and usually wrap up our day at about 2:30.
Everything's provided. They are extraordinary about what they provide. There's always water. There's always, when one of the park rangers, Val, comes, she cooks goodies. I brought brownies today. But there are always warmers for your hands if you need them. You do not have, if you're not feeling well or you don't want to work, you only work as hard as you want to.
Well, having done this for 12 years, I basically keep a go bag sitting in my second bedroom. It's got a few things in it, like a D-ring to clip onto here to hold a saw. It's got a spare pair of loppers, which I can slide down into this outside pocket. Yeah, I'm carrying my trusty Leatherman over here. Probably the most important thing I'm going to wear, even though it's wintertime out here, is I'm also carrying my water with me. And that's simply because you don't realize it, but you breathe through your mouth, you talk, you work, you pull, you make an effort. You don't realize you're losing moisture. And you'll notice there's a lot of camaraderie of the people who are working out here today. It becomes a social event for many of us. We know people that are coming out here on a regular basis. We meet new people who come out on a regular basis. We're all out here sharing the experience. And we come to find out that, hey, we're just human beings to start with. And this takes us back into a natural setting where, hey, we're all at the same level. Hey, give me a hand here, hold this while I cut it, would you? Or can I grab the corner of that tarp and give you a hand carrying it down there? We do maintain a website, www.bostonharborislands.org, and that has a calendar on it. And from that calendar, you will see regular listings for Stewardships Saturday.
And that will give you a listing of the different islands that they're on. In the winter, they tend to do World's End and Webb State Park because they are land-based. But the other ones, when you start in the spring and we start in the summer, we go out to the islands and we take a boat. And normally the boat will either leave from Hingham, or during the real summer months, it leaves from downtown Boston, either Rose Wharf or down by the Black Falcon Terminal to go out to Thompson's Island.
I do find a common thread that everybody who's here is here because they want to promote the environment, promote national preserves, and feel like they've left their footprint.
World's End is such an important place, and we might as well try to keep it as pristine and beautiful as possible, and getting rid of the invasives is one way of making sure that the park sustains itself.
Such a good cause to save and preserve life. Similarly, Barnes & Noble hosted an event for children called Lego Batman, where children helped preserve life by vanquishing evil. For the day, children were assigned by Commissioner Gordon himself to become crime fighters and crack down on the Joker and his cronies. Parents and children worked together on crime-fighting activities. Ready to become superheroes?
Well, we're having a Batman Lego event for the children in the community. They get to come in and build their own crime-fighting mobile, and also do a couple of activities, especially for the younger ones. We have a separate table, so there's a lot going on.
So there are 3 events over today. There's one February 25th and then March 11th. They're all on Saturdays. And what we got is we got 3 sets of 2 collectible cards. Today we gave out the Batman and the Joker. I think one of them next month is going to be Robin. You'll have to figure out what the other one is when you come in.
Oh, and they also get a certificate. I forgot this. A certificate at the end that says today it'll be Novice Crime Fighter. Next time it'll be Expert Crime Fighter. And then the last one I believe will be Master Crime Fighter. I could be wrong on the words, but that's happening as well. So if they come to all 3, they get the whole set of everything. So there's incentive for them to come back and hopefully enjoy themselves. We decorate the place, we put up tables, we just make it as fun for the kids as possible.
For the past month or so during story time that we have weekly, Wednesday and Friday at 10:30, Saturday at 11, I've been telling them about this event. We've been posting it on social media, just kind of letting them know about it, and then they can, sign up in advance. They can just come right in. We had a lot of people just walk right in to figure out what we were doing. If there's a new song that came out that we're actually playing right now, and that's in the movie. So Barstool was actually the first company that got access to this song. It's not even on the radio yet. So being able to show the kids that song was really cool. And then we have a Lego build, and they just wanted us to let us be imaginative and creative, and we can pass our creativity on to the kids.
Well, the kids come in and they get to meet children that they haven't met before. Some of the parents may even end up chatting, and they might not have met each other. So it's very interesting to have that dynamic. So we want to get the traffic in the store, obviously. We want people to know that we're doing these events and to come and enjoy them.
It's just great to get the kids kind of involved, get them used to, coming into a bookstore, get them interested in reading, just so they're not constantly on a tablet and playing just games and that kind of effective thing.
It's just really nice to see them smiling and happy, and it's cool. I can't wait to see their crime mobiles at the end. I couldn't build one. I have no idea what I would do, so I'm interested in seeing how they put them together. And it's just nice having kids' laughter, and they kind of start running around, and we have to tell them to stop running around, but at the same time it's nice to have the kids and the energy in the store.
I was also hired by Commissioner Gordon to keep an eye on the city, and I had the kids come and help me once the Joker let the villains free. So we had a lot of great people on our staff helping with the build, helping with the craft.
It's beneficial first to see more of the parent-child relationship because it gives you an event to connect with the kids at a content area that they're enjoyable with. So superheroes, Legos, all kids like both of those. Simple activities, something quick like building a small figure, or going through and doing a quick little artistic activity like making the masks. It just gives you that time with your child to do something at their interest level easily, and it doesn't really cost you anything. It's easy to come out here. For the community, again, it's that free benefit that Barnes & Noble's offering, that it's an event that doesn't cost anything to go to, doesn't really cost the community to put on, done by Barnes & Noble for them.
We do host a lot of events with children. We do have story time 3 days a week. Sometimes they're stories that we choose, sometimes they're stories that the company chooses. And then we also jump into a lot of really fun national events. I know the next Saturday we're participating in Disney Reads Day, so we'll be doing a lot of Disney activities and Disney stories. And then the last week in February, I believe, we're celebrating Dr. Seuss's birthday. So we do a lot of events geared towards kids. We're trying to get a couple more, geared towards older kids as well.
A lot of kids like superheroes because of Batman, because it kind of gives them that avenue to look at what's right and what's wrong, and kind of the battles between good and evil in kind of a lighthearted way.
A lot of people think it's just the movie, letting them know that there are books that they can read about it, that there are activities that they could do, together with their family. And then when they come into the story, they can see that there's so much other things that they can do and be inspired to read and create.
You can project yourself onto somebody who can do things that you can't do. I think even as an adult, I still feel the same way. I would love to be able to fly or run really fast, because then I could go visit some crazy place that I haven't, been to, and I won't have to take a plane. I mean, and for every person it's different, and like every person has their favorite superhero, so it kind of gives you an insight to someone's personality a little bit, I think, depending on who they like better.
I think it's really fun to imagine that you can do anything, and with Superman and Batman, they have tools to do everything and conquer evil, and it kind of gives them a really good role model to look up to. And my favorite about this event is seeing how intense the kids get. When they kind of ran around in the kids section to find all the villains, they were helping each other out, letting each other know, who the villain is. Seeing the teamwork that comes from these kids who really haven't met each other until they come into this building, and seeing that teamwork arise is really cool.
Wow, those kids really saved the world. This calls for a celebration. To end our show today, we will stop by the 41st annual Lincoln Day celebration, starting at the Old Ship Church, becoming a parade down Main Street, and ending with a reception at Ames Chapel. The event is an ode to the Lincoln family and the fascinating history of the town of Hingham. Let's see it for ourselves.
Yeah, so today was the 41st Lincoln Day celebration, which is meant to commemorate the lives of Benjamin Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln, whose ancestor Samuel Lincoln settled here in Hingham in 1635. He was one of the earliest settlers of Hingham, one of the first settlers. And it commemorates their legacy of civic responsibility and community building and what they kind of brought to this nation. There's a lot of planning and preparation that goes into it. I mean, we formally invite all the different members of the 54th Regiment. We invite the 54th Regiment, the Hingham Militia, Society of Cincinnati, the Military Order of the Legion of the United States, Mollis. And so we invite all of them, the selectmen. It's just kind of trying to garner enough support for the community from all these different groups. And so we go through all that, and then we also solicit donations for society from local organizations like the Fruit Center, which are always very generous at this time of year with our requests, and then also other organizations like Hingham Institution for Savings has been a sponsor every year for Lincoln Day, and then also our amazing volunteer force, in which, I mean, the society is built on a tremendous group of volunteers. Everything we do is entirely dependent on them, and it wouldn't have happened without all the work. I mean, them coming here to set up the chapel early on and get the food all squared away, and helping us at the church hand out programs and produce the programs and all these types of things. It all happens on the backs of people who are doing it because they love what they do, and that's, you know, crucial.
There was a wonderful ceremony that took about an hour that involved the processing of colors by the historic regiments, singing of anthems by the high school, wonderful high school chorus, benedictions, and then I delivered the address, which was about a half hour on the events that took place here in Hingham in August 2nd, 1844. It was the largest abolitionist picnic and rally that had been held in the United States up to that time. About 8,000 to 10,000 people came from all over, and it was an amazing day with many speakers.
I think there's a lot of enigmatic and charismatic figures throughout history that often get overlooked, because particularly in regards to the Revolution, where everyone knows George Washington and Benedict Arnold, and those are like your two major Revolutionary War figures. But Hingham has such a rich history during the American Revolution. There are so many buildings still in town today, and buildings that are no longer in town, and high-profile figures like General Lafayette, who came here and stayed in Hingham for a period of time when he was training American troops. There's so many different figures, and Benjamin Lincoln, I think, unfortunately gets lost amongst the mix of lesser-known figures, but it doesn't negate the importance of what he did.
General Benjamin Lincoln formed and started the Hingham Militia back in the mid-1700s as part of, you know, Hingham's militia effort. He was a very notable person in the town. He started as he was a town clerk, he was a selectman, he worked in the customs areas in Boston, and he was one of George Washington's 10 generals in the Revolutionary War. So very significant contribution from a notable Hingham citizen.
Benjamin Lincoln was, you know, he was the right-hand person of George Washington. He was a very prominent general in the Revolutionary War, and actually accepted the surrender sword from Cornwallis. But beyond that, in terms of his involvement in Hingham, he was very community-oriented, a very active participant in the community, and it stimulated that kind of emblematic participation for subsequent generations of Hingham residents.
Direct people to that and remind them, like, you know, this man lived in Hingham, he was just your average guy, your average farmer, and when push came to shove, he was the first one to say, what can I do to help?
I think it's so interesting to know what happened here before we arrived on the scene, and also the story of the abolitionists who were trying everything they could to stop slavery is a very, very important story in our nation's history, and it's something that happened here, and it can be used perhaps in educational programs for school children.
Well, I think what it does is it allows people on a day to celebrate an event and a group of people who were very instrumental in the founding of our country and our democracy. And it's also a way to bring people together from not only Hingham, but from other towns around Hingham.
It's HinghamHistoricalSociety.org. And you can go there and see our upcoming calendar of events. Obviously, the Hingham Heritage Museum is on the cusp of opening. We're very, very excited after almost a little over a year and a half of construction. So we're anxious to get back in there and to invite the whole community in, because it's going to be an exciting time.
Well, that's all for this month. Tune in next time for another exciting episode of Hingham Happenings. If you have any suggestions for a future episode, please email us at hinghamhappenings@hinghammedia.org. Thank you so much for watching.